Hey guys, from Danang in Vietnam, famous as R&R stop for American GIs in the Vietnam War, and famous today as a beach resort, popular with Vietnamese people and starting to be popular with foreigners as well. So let's have a little walk around the old part of Danang. Yeah, there is actually a bit of an old town, and I'm going to show you the best parts. So hang around for that, but I'm going to also tell you guys about some scams that you got to beware of, and the do's and don'ts and so on. All right, let's get into it.
The name Danang originates from the Cham civilization, who controlled the region before it was taken over by the Vietnamese in the 11th century. In 1889, the French Colonial administration renamed the city Hoi An. During the Vietnam War, Danang became infamous internationally as one of the main American bases and a rest and recreation facility.
All right, so let's take a little walk around. Oh, interesting statue there. Let's take a little walk around Danang, around the old town of Danang. There is a bit of an old town actually. Interesting hotel, some pretty cool sculptures there, and okay, they got a massage and spa as well. I wonder what kind of massage that is in there. More sculptures here. Oh, let's have a look. Phong Dong VIP massage. Phong Dong massage, huh? So what kind of massage is that? Maybe this statue gives us an indication, I'm not sure. So, there's a cafe here. Do they work in the massage place? I don't know, I'm not sure about that. But nice little cafe there. Anyway, so let's head down the footpath a bit. So, I haven't been to Danang for a long time now. A few good cafes around here. About 12 years I would say since I've been to Danang. It's changed a bit. Last time I came to Danang, it was basically just to get on to Hoi An, like most foreigners. Karaoke down there, a few hotels. Yeah, so most foreigners just blast right on through Danang. They don't really stick around or look around even. But this trip I decided to actually look around a bit, because looking at the map, now we have better maps online, right, than we had 12 years ago. Looking at the map, I found it a bit intriguing. I thought maybe there are remnants of an old town here. And here's something interesting right here. Lovely old French style villa. Let's have a peek. Oh, some cool stuff on the walls here. Pyramids, Taj Mahal. This one is maybe Japanese, or Japanese. Napoleon here. I think Julius Caesar says something about the aspirations of the owner, perhaps, with an interesting courtyard cafe. Kind of Japanese style, I guess it's supposed to be. Don't know if the original buildings were old and renovated or not, but I'm not sure if anyone lives in the main building anymore. Nice old villa. Yeah, so like I said, last time I blasted through on the way to Hoi An, like most foreigners, but over the last 12 years, Danang has started to become popular a little bit in its own right. So I thought I should check it out a bit more. Cleopatra maybe? Some Egyptian ones there. Pretty far out place, this house. So anyway, I've had a look around to figure out what to show you guys, and yeah, it's definitely worth chilling out in Danang, not just to use it as a convenient base to explore Hoi An. It's definitely worth hanging out just for, in its own right, you can say, not just for the beaches either. Danang's well known as a beach resort, very popular with citizens of Vietnam, and it's become increasingly popular over the last decade or a bit more with foreigners as well for the beaches, and they're nice beaches for sure. For like a mainland type beach, of course beaches on islands tend to be a bit nicer, but yeah, they're good beaches around here, definitely quite decent. And looking back at the history of the place, back in the Vietnam War days, Danang was a major supply base for the American military and an R&R, rest and recreation place as well, when soldiers had a bit of downtime from fighting inland from here, up in the jungle, up in the mountains there, which, yeah, that's a really interesting area, by the way. Good to get up in there if you can, have a look. But when they get a break, they'd come down here, do a bit of surfing, swimming, have a few beers and try to unwind a little bit, as much as you could from such a horrific experience, at least. Bit of a glass monstrosity here. So yeah, there is a bit of an old town left. Of course, in the war, this place was involved in quite a lot of bloodshed, of course. And eventually the Americans had to leave. The South Vietnamese government obviously lost control of the situation, and Ho Chi Minh's communist forces were able to move in. So yeah, of course, a lot of destruction happened in that time. And as far as the old town goes, yeah, there's still a little cluster of old buildings in the center. It's, I can say, just enough to give it a bit of nice character. There's an interesting statue over here in this school courtyard. They got the uniforms as well. Yeah, so earlier when I was scouting around to figure out what to film for you guys, I walked into the entrance of this place. The security guard went totally ballistic, yelling out, "No, no, no!" Just all I did was walk in the gate, maybe just up to the beginning of the steps at the front of the church there. The guy was like having none of it, you know? Little guy comes out waving his arms and screaming. I wasn't too happy about it, to be honest. Then he called a woman over and said something to her, and then she asked me, "What are you looking for?" Quite sternly. And then I was really annoyed, you know? And I said, "It's a church. I can look, huh?" Hello. How are you? You okay? What do you got? The ball? Okay, sure. Let's see if we can kick the ball over here. Are you ready? Are you ready? 1, 2, 3. Woo! You're welcome. Yeah, that's nice. All right. Anyway, yeah, it's all fun and games, and it makes for good stories. later on. So anyway, yeah, so that's why I didn't go into the blue church there, because I don't want to get yelled at again, you know. Actually been yelled at 3 times today by people who didn't want me to go somewhere, even when I wasn't really trying to go where they thought I was trying to go, but never mind. I did notice, yeah, there seemed to be a lot more tourists here than 12 years ago. People actually who seem to be looking around and chilling out a bit, not just rushing through. So that's pretty cool for the local economy. But of course, with that kind of thing, you do get a bit of pushback from some locals who don't like it, right? But a lot of nice cafes along here. But in general, I don't want to, like, you know, put the place down at all, but in general it's really nice and really laid back. Here's a pretty cool cafe in here. I'll just show you in the courtyard here. Hello. Very nice courtyard in here with renovated buildings in the back here. And a bit of an oasis. Can get away from the noise from the road. Hello, how are you? Thank you. Yeah, nice little spot there with the upstairs part in the back as well. Anyway, we'll keep going for now. But as I was saying, yeah, with the tourist dollars flowing in, you start to get some hassles with some tourists. Like when I went in the market earlier, some of the tourists like just don't seem to care about blocking the way totally, that no one else can get by. But actually, to be fair, I noticed the market sellers did the same thing as well. They're hungry for the dollar. This looks like a pretty cool place. So, you know, it goes both ways, of course. So that's why you don't want to see a bit of entitlement starting to creep in from some of the locals once they get the taste of that dollar, and then they start getting hungry and hungrier for that, and then start getting a bit pushy and bossy. But anyway, I don't want to harp on about that kind of thing. It's just like a few people I noticed. When I got off the train this morning and I first turned left and walked on the street, I think it's called Haiphong Street, and it's a like local style street. Lots of nice food places, by the way, but the footpaths are like totally overrun with motorbikes parked everywhere and hawkers setting up their stuff on the footpath, blocking the whole thing. Pretty out of control, you know. 12 years ago it wasn't that bad, I gotta say. I found it a little bit disappointing, you know. In Saigon, it's not too surprising, right? Because it's a tourist magnet. I didn't really, you know, didn't mind much about that, but yeah, I just thought it's a bit over the top to see that the government doesn't really try to control that kind of stuff much. If you've got a government that's supposed to be taking care of the people, make sure the people can walk on the footpath. Now, look, we're in the old part of the town here, no problem, right? So they're obviously enforcing that stuff here, but in the local neighborhood, no. And some of the motorcycle riders, you know, really over the top. Really, like, too aggressive. It was not like that 12 years ago, definitely not. It was much more mellow. So, you know, there are changes. And these things happen. You know, I've seen the same thing in Myanmar over the years. When I first went there, it had just opened up for tourism, and very few people had any conception of trying to overcharge you or be bossy or whatever. And then I went back every year, basically, almost, or every second year between then and now, which is like a dozen years. And slowly you could see the change, you know. People start to pick up the wrong kind of ideas from places like Thailand, where tourism's been happening for decades now, and you do get a lot of issues there. As much as I love Thailand, you know, I love all the countries in Southeast Asia for sure, but yeah, these are the things though that we have to talk about when we talk about traveling anywhere, because we want to know about the do's and don'ts and how to have a good time, which part of that is about avoiding hassles, of course. Yeah, but anyway, I definitely give Danang 2 thumbs up as a nice spot to break your trip up if you're traveling from north to south or south to north in Vietnam. Yeah, so overall the verdict is good. The positives strongly outweigh any hassle factor. All right, so here's the main market just across the street here. We'll take a peek in there. A nice old building over here. Hop my what? Hop on my motorbike, maybe? I don't know. Hop my something or other. Sounds a bit suggestive, doesn't it? I don't know. Who knows? I don't know. I know nothing. All right. But I'm seeking the knowledge. Let's get across here in one piece. Hey, come on, buddy. What an ass. Hey. See what I mean about aggressive motorbike riding? It wasn't like that 12 years ago, I can tell you. All right, anyway, it's good to have examples, right? Real world examples. Let's take a peek in the market. Second time I had some numpty ride their motorbike directly at me at high speed like that and not try to avoid or slow down. How hard is it to lean a little bit to the left or the right just to go around when there's no one else around at all on the road? Pretty bloody weird. Anyway, let's take a looky around here. It's a pretty cool market. Nice market, actually. It smells a bit like mothballs, but okay, let's head on through here. Quite a few tourists in here, mostly Asian tourists, but if you've had a lot of time in Asia, you can spot them easily enough. Can pick out the nationalities. It's not that hard. It's kind of a funny thing because in the last maybe 5 years or so, pretty much every time I've run into people who have been traveling in Vietnam, when I run into them in other parts of the region, one of the first things they always say is about the motorbike riders in Vietnam being dangerous and crazy. And actually, every time I've told them that, in my experience, they're a lot better than, for example, in Thailand or some other countries in the region, which I think they were a lot better about 12 years ago. But yeah, coming back now, I have to say I can see things have changed a bit. The kind of relaxed riding style, flow like a fish, don't speed, that's how it was 12 years ago. It's starting to be replaced a bit. And I think part of it's to do with probably locals traveling to places like Thailand or whatever, and then copying habits like that. And then the other thing is like fast money. People start to get the taste of the dollar and they lose their patience. They want to hustle around and they want to get that quick money. It's a different mentality. All right, try to get past these tourists here in the market. That was all right. Bit of a flower market along the side here as well. All right, let's continue around the side of the market here. It's a nice little street running alongside the market, unsurprisingly. It's always a good way to kind of orient yourself, is to find the main market of wherever you're traveling through. And then usually you find a lot of the most interesting stuff happens to be around the main market, so it's a good tip. It's great these days with Google Maps and map apps and so on. Makes it a lot easier. Of course, I've been doing traveling like this back when there were not even many tour guides around at all. Few tour guide books, very few. It was just the beginning of that kind of thing when I started traveling a lot. Some older buildings along here. Pizzeria. You really need that Western food fix. Don't know if it's any good, but... And the riverside here. I'm not sure what this river is called, but it's a pretty major one. All right, we'll see if we can go for third time unlucky with crazy motorbike riders. All right, that was all right. That's more like it. That's what I'm used to. People just leaning their bike a wee bit to keep it safe. All right, some older buildings along the riverside, along this stretch, going down to the corner there, and another entrance to the market we just had a look in. Some more tourists from the Asian region here. This is pretty cool along the riverside here with these sculptures and an interesting promenade along here. Would be great in the evening, obviously, when everything's all lit up. It would look great. Interesting bridge there, nice design somehow. Little mermaid. Another church over there. Okay, of course the church thing goes back to the French times. Same with all the old buildings around here. They come from the French colonial days. And it's surprising how many people in Vietnam are actually Christians. Really, really surprising. I don't know the exact percentage, but I've seen it. It's a lot. Really surprising. Up ahead, this very interesting architectural bridge up here, interesting architecturally, with a dragon. People call it the Dragon Bridge. That would look cool lit up at night as well, I'm sure. I guess I'll find out tonight. Okay, a little bit of a wander along the riverfront promenade here. A nice shady spot with a bicycle taxi there. Bring back the bicycles and get rid of the bloody motorbikes. Nah, I don't mind the I don't mind the motorbikes actually. Much better than cars. I can say definitely it's one of the good things about Vietnam, all the motorbikes. I do appreciate the motorbikes, to be honest. You know, just imagine all the cars you'd need if you got rid of half of the motorbikes. And then you've got a situation like Bangkok where it's just like gridlock traffic. So I think they're pretty smart with sticking with motorbikes. It's more economical. But yeah, we'll see how that goes. If I come back in another 12 years, we'll see. Probably it will be different again. And probably in that time there'll be double the number of cars or triple the number of cars, because Vietnam is a country that is changing very, very rapidly. So a bunch of hotels along the riverside, quite cheap ones. And I scored one along here for, about, I think 14 American dollars. Very cheap. Maybe less than that it was, a bit less even, I think. Maybe $12.50, something like that. So there are some real bargains around. Cheaper than Hoi An, I bet. Hoi An's only a 40-minute bus ride down the coast with a local bus. That's something important to mention though. The local bus that goes to Hoi An is notorious for trying to scam people. When you step into the bus, the price is posted just to the right as you get up near the front where the driver sits. It's posted on the wall there. And it's mentioned in some of the travel books as well, right? Travel guides. And the ticket guy basically is very aggressive. And I had this happen to me when I first came here, and I was on the lookout for it, you know, I wasn't surprised. Oh man. The guy tried to grab my guitar from me like he's gonna throw it off the bus. Well, it didn't work out too well for him. I grabbed his arm and I told him I'm gonna throw him off the bus, right? They had the back door of the bus open. So I said, take your hand off my guitar or you're going out the door, mate. So, yeah, he could see I wasn't joking either. And I wasn't joking. Someone puts their hand on my guitar, it's like, can be big trouble. So then he wouldn't take the money from me for the normal ticket price, right? And he's storming around. By the way, here's a backpacker, another one on the corner, hostel. Yeah, he's like storming around in the bus looking all pissed off. And then a couple Korean girls got on the bus and they actually asked me, because I was the only other foreigner, they said, how much does it cost? And I pointed to the price and I said, the ticket guy is the problem. He's trying to overcharge foreigners. It's a scam. The police should be doing something about that. Then he came to them and they tried to pay the correct price. And he's yelling loud as thunder in their faces, right? Screaming at them. They tried to stick to their guns. And he's just screaming at them, right? None of the Vietnamese people on the bus reacted. They just all acted like it's perfectly fine. Didn't want to get involved. And then the girl started crying, right? Finally, one Vietnamese guy, who was a younger guy, I think I asked him first to say something, right? And then he said something to the driver and tried to get the driver to accept the correct money. I think the Korean girls gave up and paid over the normal price, but I wasn't gonna do that. So the local guy took the money off me and he was trying to give it to the ticket guy. The guy wouldn't take it until we arrived. Then he finally gave up and he took the money, right? When I had to go back from Hoi An to Danang, the same day actually, the same guy was standing outside the next bus that was going to come back, and there was no one around. I walked up to him and I put my nose about a centimeter from his nose, and he was backed up against the side of the bus, and I pointed my finger in his face and I said, I will do something really not good. That could be the end for him if he tries that again. And then he kind of looked a bit nervous and he didn't know what I'm saying exactly, but he knew the meaning, right? And then he kind of did a kind of sheepish kind of thing, you know, like a little shrug of the shoulders or whatever, like okay. And then it was time for the bus to go. I got on, paid the normal price to him, no problem after that. But it's crazy, of course. You don't want to get beat up by a mob of locals either, because in this part of the world and some other parts of the world, it's a long way from Kansas, you know. Different rules apply, and locals stick up for other locals, right or wrong, which, yeah, it's not good, right? And I've seen it happen in Southeast Asia, especially in Thailand, for example, and I know it can happen in Vietnam as well. If you just stick up for your rights, stand up for your rights, you could get jumped by a mob. So anyway, that's that story. Glad to tell you guys, and hope it saves some people from any hassle in the future. Alright guys, thanks for coming along with me on this adventure, and hope you got some good information that can keep you out of troubles in the future and make sure you have a good time. See you in the next one, and please subscribe, like, and hit the bell button if you haven't already, and drop us a comment. I'd love to hear what you have to say. Yeah, so like I was gonna say, see you in the next one, and don't be late.